Okay, I'm going to go over AA.9, writing linear equations given the graph. So what we have here is a line given on a graph, and the line is passing through the zero. So every line that is being graphed in this lesson will be written as y equals mx plus b, or if they don't have a y-intercept, if they don't have this part, they will only be graphed as mx with no intercept. In this case, I'm graphing it like this because it does not have a y-intercept. It's just passing through the zero. So from here, once I have my point of interception right here, I need to find my next pretty point. And I go through the line until I find my next pretty point, which is right here. And I make a mark. So once I find my pretty point, I start counting. From the given point that I already graphed, the point of interception, I start counting 1 square, 2 squares, 3 squares, 4 squares, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 squares. I'm rising. Then I'm running 1 to the right. So I went up and then to the right. So notice that all of these numbers are positives because I went up and I went to the right. So I'm touching positive numbers. So that means I just divide. A divided by 1 equals just an 8. So I'm going to graph y equals 8x. And you put in the answer right here. Y equals 8x. The next one, again, there's two types of equations that we're going to follow, mx plus b or y equals mx. In this case, it's not passing through zero, it's passing through the 200. So I'm following this type of equation. Okay, so if it's passing through a specific number on the y-axis, I grab this number. It's positive 200. So I already have this part, the b, which is your y-intercept. So I'm done with that part. Now I just need the number that goes with the x. All right, so from this point that you already graphed right there, then you're going to go to the next pretty point, which is right here. Next pretty point, next pretty point. All right, and you start rising and running to get the number with the x, which is the slope. Okay, so I'm going to rise 1 square and run 1 square. We're rising 1 square, running 1 square. So that means 1 over 1 is just 1x, but I've already mentioned in class, we don't write the 1x anywhere. You're not going to see it like that. The way you will see it is just y equals x by itself plus 200. And that's exactly what you type. Y equals x plus 200. And you move on to the next question. So in this question, same thing. I'm going to either write y equals mx plus b or y equals mx. Does this line pass through the zero? No, so I'm using the top one then. So the line is passing through the y at this point right here, and the number between negative 100 and negative 80, that's negative 90. Okay, so that means I already have this part of my equation. So negative 90. Then from there, I find my pretty points. Okay, so once I find my pretty points, I just go rise 1, run 1, rise 1, run 1, rise 1, run 1. So That's exactly what you do. Rise 1, run 1. We went to the right, so they remain positive. So 1 divided by 1 equals 1. And you put it together with the x, but I just said that we are not going to put a 1. We're just going to leave the x by itself. So y equals x minus 90. Okay, and I'm going to move to another type of question. For example, this one. First, we write the type of equations that we're following. This graphed line is passing through the zero, so that means it doesn't have a y-intercept. I'm using this format. I just need a number that goes with the x. That's it. So from this given point, that's where you begin. And you find your next pretty point from this. This is pretty point. No, this one, no. This one, no. And this one is a pretty point. So from here, I am rising, and I'm going to run from the starting point. So I'm going to rise 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to run 1 to the left. So I went left, that means this is a negative. So negative 4 divided by 1 equals negative 4, and combine it with your x. And then you just input the answer. Y equals negative 4x. And there we have it. I'm just going to go over one more type of question. All right, here we are. Y equals mx plus b, or y equals mx. So notice this is not passing through the zero, so I'm using the top one then. It's passing through the negative 4, so you're going to put a minus 4. And now I need the number with the x, and the y equals, you bring it down. So from this point, now you find your pretty point, your next pretty point. So going up, this is the next pretty point, this is the next pretty point. So you basically just rise 1, run 1, rise 1, run 1. So rise 1, run 1. And we are going right when we're running. So that means it remains a positive. So that's it. I just need to write y equals x minus 4. Y equals x minus 4. And that's it for today.